Hello and welcome to the show. Welcome to a special edition. You're watching an EUR Web interview special edition. I'm Steffanie Rivers. Welcome to the program. We have a special guest with us today, all the way from Hollywood. We are talking to Mitch Marchand. He's the actor, comedian, producer, and now Emmy nominated writer. So, in other words, Mitch Marchand, the quadruple threat. We see you, Mitch, out there doing your thing in Hollywood. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is really cool. Appreciate you.
Thank you for being here. We know you've been nominated for your first Emmy in the Creative Arts Division for your work with the John Lewis Celebrating a Hero special. Now that, of course, was
Yes.
hosted by Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Brad Pitt. How was it working with that group of people? Was that your first time working with them?
Well, not for Oprah. I've actually had the opportunity to work with her before. Uh, and when I the first time I met Oprah, I was doing a special for TD Jakes for celebrating his anniversary, and I met her there. But this was an interesting opportunity from the perspective of having to basically eulogize a civil rights icon and hero in John Lewis, who's somebody I always loved and respected, and the opportunity to put words in the mouths of all those great people, also Trevor Noah, Tyler Perry. It was an amazing opportunity, something I couldn't pass up, and I was just I'm just still floored by the fact that I'm being recognized for it. The recognition of being able to be the writer who wrote it was enough for me. But I'm just really honored to be in this moment right now.
So, do you think that you've worked on a lot of shows? You've worked on award shows,
Mhm.
BET Awards, Hip Hop Awards, the NAACP Image Awards, even.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
what what was different about this working with this award show or with this show type of show versus ones you normally are known for?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it was because it was all written in this very room that I'm in right now. The COVID of it all. There was no ability. It was like a lot of email exchanges rather than the face to face connection you get to make with people and go through the copy and share notes back and forth. So that all kind of happened via email. So that was probably the biggest difference. And you know, having been I've been writing for years, but going during this COVID time, that's been the biggest difference. Is the You have to really truly connect because it's hard to you can't do it physically. So you have to really really kind of step into a different space and really get inside people's heads and hear their voices. And thankfully I was able to accomplish that with the John Lewis special.
So, do you think a lot of people who make the decisions about who gets Emmys or who gets awards that they don't look at comedy or they don't look at different genres of programming the same as they do award
Hmm.
shows or do shows like the one where you're getting this Emmy?
Well, here's the interesting part of the whole my first Emmy nomination is that I am primarily known in the industry as a comedy writer. So to receive this honor from the Academy, having written something that was basically a life retrospective of a civil rights icon, is again this honor in and of itself. I just always wanted to craft my career in a way that allowed me to be what I would always kind of call it like a Swiss Army knife. Like I never wanted to be a guy that was just defined by one genre of writing. So, you know, the first film script I ever wrote was a drama, and I just ended up, linking and becoming, popular in the industry as a comedy writer. But I I feel that if you can write, like, it's almost like when comedians do serious roles, it's like we're ambidextrous. We don't have to be pigeonholed into one category. And I really think that's what I like that about my story the most. And I hope that gives inspiration to younger creatives, that you don't have to put yourselves in a box.
Speaking of that, I wanted to ask you, because a lot of males, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
boys are steered towards sports in school. They're not really geared to develop their scholastic skills or their writing
Mm-hmm.
talent. And
Mm-hmm.
so, was that your experience? Were you steered towards sports? And if so, how did you get people to notice, or how did you realize for yourself, you know what, I'm good at writing and good at speaking, comedy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good at something else other than what people think I am good at. How did you break out of that
Right.
and realize that about yourself?
I mean, it's my life. I've I started as a child actor. I'm from Hollis, Queens, New York, and I started as a child actor. So I had the opportunity to do theater as a young boy, and it allowed, so stage fright was something I never had to worry about. Like, when you think about, like, I'm a sports fanatic. I mean, you see the Kobe Bryant um, painting behind me. Like, I love basketball, football, but I wasn't that good at it. So, like, I was okay. I was like street ball okay, but I wasn't gonna. That wasn't my. I didn't have a hoop dream. My dream. I was living my dream. Basically from the time I was 9 years old. I wanted to be on television. I wanted to. I thought my career path would actually have me, acting and being a versatile actor. But I life happens, and you have to kind of roll with it. So for me, I started to see things on a global scale, not just from the perspective of being or just an actor, but I started to see other sides of the business, and I got attracted to it. In particular, when I was about 12 years old, I ended up getting an internship on the movie Do the Right Thing, and that was a pivotal moment in my life, and remains a big moment in my life, because it allowed me to see the entire facet of what filmmaking really was, not just from one actor playing a role, but how you intersperse all these things, and the grind it takes to create what ended up becoming a classic. At the time, I just wanted to be around Spike Lee. I was a film nerd. This is during the time of like the Black Pack, like Keenan had "I'm Gonna Get You Sucker," and like it was a time in our lives when we really got the opportunity to see ourselves as more than just actors or entertainers, but as versatile filmmakers, and artists and writers and directors. So that was a humongous influence on my life and career.
So it seems so many times most people don't see, they focus on, and it's good to have focus, of course, they focus on one
Hmm.
aspect of their field or what they want. But like you said, getting to see all that it entails to make you a better rounded person in that arena. You ended up
Hmm.
working with Monique as her head writer. Now, a lot of
Yeah.
people, they want, they see uh, uh, comedians doing their thing, and they're like, I got,
Mm,
I've got good jokes. Why can't I be a head writer? Why can't I
right,
some of my jokes to this person? How did you get in
right.
front of Monique for her to say to you, you've got the skills to be my head writer? Was it for her show or for her stand up?
Yes, it was for the Monique show, the late night talk show that was on BET.
BT.
Um,
Okay.
the opportunity happened via my connection to a producer named Marilyn Gill, who was the exec producer on that show. Marilyn and I had worked on a myriad of things, early in my career. She gave me my first producer title. Shout out to Marilyn Gill if she sees this. And it was just an opportunity for me, having written for comedians. And when I say write for comedians, it's not, writing their jokes per se, but sometimes it's writing their presentations for award shows. And I was beginning to develop myself in that way. And so Marilyn just gave me a call and said, listen, there's this opportunity. We want you to, it's in Atlanta. So I had to move to Atlanta. My family stayed here. It was, um, it was a glorious time, though, in the fact that, I got to be around Monique. This is, during the time when, she was going through her award show season and winning all her awards for Precious. And at the same time, and I was in a room with some really great comedians, and we began to develop a rapport. And, you know, and it was like the late night talk show environment is different from all the other things. It's very like go 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 go, and for me, it just fit me, and I was fortunate and very blessed to have the opportunity to do that with her.
So I've been told that one of the things that a lot of people in the entertainment industry have a problem with is being on time. And so I want to give you props for being like on time for our talk. What are some of the things that is like your pet peeve when you work with celebrities that you see them doing that you're like, come on, man, you can just do this one thing. What is that thing?
Well, no, I mean, I think every situation with in terms of what I do working with celebrities is different and unique in and of itself. You know, having worked with Jamie Foxx, having worked with Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Marlon Wayans, like, Monique, all of these people they bring a different and unique thing. But I think the thing that, that I think there's a commonality in the fact that they're all driven to want to do well. So, there's I don't think there's a pet peeve. I just think sometimes it's like some days you just don't have it. Some days we all have an off day, and
Mhm.
it's hard to have an off day in my industry because I'm responsible for a show that's going to happen on a specific date, and there's nothing I can do about it to change it. So I have to continue to push myself. So I guess my pet peeve is just making sure that I'm sharp. I think that's the most important thing for me, and I'm there to magnify the talent that I'm working with, and that's the goal, and that's where the glory comes from.
So I was reading some of your tweets the other day, and I saw
Okay.
where you said something akin to you thought you were the man until you realized people didn't respect short people that much, or something
Yeah,
along.
that was just a joke. I mean, it's funny. I the key to life is not taking yourself too seriously. I've learned through trial and error, like you can't take yourself too seriously. And it's funny because I have four amazing kids, and I have three boys and one girl, and all my sons are taller than me. So it's just very funny, like when I'm walking with my two sons that live out here, I always tell them like walk beside me and not behind me because it looks like I have security. I look way more important than I am. So it's just like I try to run it at jokes sometimes in a way just like, you know, um, just poking fun at myself because nothing is that serious. It's we have to enjoy our lives and just have fun with who we are. And I think that also informs my comedy as well. Yes. Excuse me.
So I know that another tweet said, in the in the worst of times, in the best of times, that's what life gives you, and you have to
Yeah.
succeed in the middle, in the midst of that. So
Yeah.
what are with your nomination for an Emmy being the best of times? What are some of the worst
Hmm.
of times things that you find yourself dealing with right now?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, life is a scenario where, you must appreciate every day, and you must appreciate every friendship and every person you come in contact with, even, a person on the street that you don't know. I've always been like a super extra friendly dude, which is weird for New Yorkers, but you know, unfortunately, we in the comedy community. There's been some really big tragedies that have happened lately. My very good friend Tony Baker lost his son. Another good comedian friend of mine, Nick Carthen, passed away, and just recently I lost my friend Fuquan Johnson. And that's in the course of like the last month. And so it definitely it has affected me in a way, and also reminds you of your mortality and reminds you how short life really is. But in the same space, it also allows you to appreciate um, the blessings and the gifts and the things that you do have, and as sad as I have been, this is a a remarkable time for me personally, for my family, for my wife, and my sisters, and my kids and everybody that supports me. And so my responsibility is to be someone that deals with the slings and arrows of life, but at the same time functions in the space of gratitude.
Amen. So are you're Mitch Marchand the third, yes?
Marchand the third, yes, Mitch Marchand the third is that's my full name. I don't use the third because it sounds like the character from Gilligan's Island. But I am Mitch
Uh
Marchand the third.
so is your son, you named him the fourth, one of your sons?
No, I stalled them out. I stalled them out. I didn't want to let them have to carry that. So, my I have two twins. They're named
Wow.
Christian and Bianca, and my sons that I have with my wife are named Miles and Coltrane. And they were kind of obviously named after the jazz musicians, who my dad was a tremendous jazz music enthusiast who used to drill me in the car all the time when he picked me up from school about, you know, who's who's this horn player, and what is that sound, and what's the name of this song, and Satin Doll, and so I grew up in like a hip hop environment. At the same time, I had this dad who was really into jazz, and so we thought when we had Miles first, and then 7 years later we had Coltrane, and we thought we were actually planning for a girl, my wife and I, but Coltrane had other plans, so here he is.
So that leads me to my question, because you hit on it, that when you are a namesake, there is
Hmm.
something that comes with that, like your father wants you to carry on and bring something more to the name. So
Right.
how does your father, Mr. Marchand, and your
Hmm.
grandfather feel about your success in this.
Um, well, I spiritually, I hope they are proud of me. They're unfortunately no longer with us, but
I'm sorry to
I
hear that.
I am very much a product of a great upbringing. I was, you know, my story is pretty wild from the perspective of my birth mother passed away when I was 6, So I was raised by my aunt and uncle, Robert Casellas and Christine Casellas, and which is why my firstborn child is named Christian because he was a boy, but I named him after Christine. And so, I have angels all around me that keep me surrounded and lifted, and I feel them every day. And my goal is to just carry out my legacy in a way that would honor them and make them proud. Even though they're not physically here, it's always something that I carry in my work every day.
So one last question. What would you tell your 20-year-old self if you could, and other 20-year-olds new in the
Mm.
business about what to to be successful? How would you do that? And yeah, like what would you
Um,
tell them?
I think very much in terms of when I think about my 20-year-old self, I would tell myself to be patient. I think we all want it instantly, and I think my career has been defined by a lot of highs and lows and ups and downs, but at the same time, um, I would tell young creatives to think outside the box, never limit yourself, but at the same time be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to grow. And the instant gratification is, we're living in that era. That's what we, especially with social media and all that, and I get it and I understand it. But at the same time, I think it's important to um, just allow yourself some grace. And some, like I said, certain days you just don't have it. And when that happens, just allow that day to be what it is, and then get back up and dust yourself off, and get back to work on the next day.
Thanks for that. If you is there anything you that I didn't ask that you want to share?
Oh no, I mean, I just appreciate this opportunity to just share my story. And I'm This is a glorious weekend for my family, and I'm just very uh, proud of my journey. I'm very happy for to be in this moment. I sincerely can't explain it, but I worked really hard to get here, and I'm just incredibly happy that I'm here with the love of a wonderful woman, great kids, a supportive family and friend group, and I just want people to continue to support my work. And I'm a writer on the Upshaws for Netflix, and that's out right now on Netflix. You can watch that. Um, and we're coming back with season two, so I'm really excited to be joining. Going back to that, and with Wanda and Mike. And I'm also a writer on this year's Emmys, writing for Cedric the Entertainer, and so that's coming up on the 19th of September. So it's a very busy, glorious time in the Mitch Marchand world, and I'm just, really, really um, proud of the progression.
All right. And if someone wants to follow you on your social media, what's your social media handle on IG and Twitter?
Oh, it's at Mitch Mitch Marchand March like the month AND, and I make it easy. I don't have like a underscore or nothing. It's just at Mitch Marchand.
All right, at Mitch Marchand. I'm going to be your new Twitter follower and whatever they call it these
Okay.
days. They keep changing up the names and stuff, right?
Good luck.
All right. So
But I'm
thank
I'm
you.
I'm
So,
a, I'm a much calmer Twitter user. I'm not as wild as I used to be, so I have to leave the jokes for the scripts now.
all right. I'll keep watching.
All right, all right. Well,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you, Steph. Thank you so
No
much.
problem. Appreciate you. So,
All right.
so we want to thank Mitch for taking the time to be here. And again, this has been a special EUR Web Edition interview with Emmy-nominated writer Mitch Marchand. Thanks, you guys, and have a super day.